Hey guys, welcome back to another episode with the STL Watch Shop inside the MTB shed. We're going to be doing an opening today. I've got some Bulova Accutrons here, so I thought it'd be cool to check those out for the first time with you guys and kind of talk a little bit about Bulova. If you've been into the shop or watching these videos, you know I'm a big fan of Bulova. It all kind of started with the Accutron here for me. Again, that's what's going to be in the box, and a little bit of kind of history on that. Joseph Bulova immigrated to the United States a few years later. He was in his early 20s. He started the Bulova Watch Company in 1875. I'm a big fan of Joseph Bulova, because it's an immigrant entrepreneurial story, which is always amazing. So I'm a big fan of Joseph Bulova for doing that. And then also, Bulova was at the leading edge of marketing, and they were in every department store. And Joseph Bulova really had a focus on creating a watch that was quality, well made. He was the first to use interchangeable parts in watches, but they were going to still be affordable, and that holds true through today. Still, if you go to any mall, you can find a Bulova watch. Joseph Bulova was the first one to advertise on the radio during a baseball game. He sponsored television shows. So again, just from that entrepreneurial spirit, I really love Bulova for that. Beyond that, though, that was just kind of the kickstart into things. The kind of real passion for Bulova with me comes from these Accutron watches, or the use of the tuning fork. As you can see kind of on the screen here, I'll zoom you guys in a little bit. There'll be timestamps for the watches, so if you guys want to go below, you can check that out. But here's my Bulova Space View. It's a 1965. The Space View was actually never meant for consumer sales. So Bulova released the Accutron in 1960. The Space View was just to show this new technology. So if we take a leap back in time, back to the 1960s, this is pre-quartz watches. So prior to the 1960s, all watches had mechanical movement. So you wind them, there's a balance wheel that goes back and forth, a spring barrel. There's all kinds of parts that kind of reserve power in the barrel, and then releases through everything. A bunch of moving parts, a balance staff. Your balance wheel is very delicate. All these moving parts that would have to be oiled and cleaned, and they were very delicate, and there's a lot of parts. So in 1960, Hamilton came out with a battery-operated watch, or the first electric watch, the Hamilton Electric 500, I believe. So that was kind of late 1950s, but it still uses a balance wheel and all your typical watch parts, but instead of having the wound up spring when you turn the dial on the side of your watch, instead of using that barrel spring, it utilized a battery instead. So that was the first one. That's kind of what inspired Bulova. So with the Accutron, a gentleman named Max Hetzel was hired by Bulova in 1950. In the 1950, transistors were developed by Bell Radio, or Bell Communications, and Bell made the transistor. Basically, what you could do is a transistor, what it does is it's essentially got three prongs or 3 points, and the middle point, or one of the prongs, controls the output. You have some power, higher power coming in, and then the middle prong will then make the third one have lower or higher. It could do all these things. This is what led to our ability to have computers and radios and just all the small electronics. So instead of using vacuum bulbs that either lit up for ones or went off for zeros, we were now able to alter current through a transistor. Max Hetzel seen that. He had a background in computer sciences, and he was not a watchmaker by trade. He got hired by Bulova over in Switzerland and started developing essentially what will become the first commercially available electronic watches, fully electronic watches. unlike the Hamilton, which still relied on the older style. So the Accutron, by the time it was all said and done, it only had 12 moving parts. It was operated by a battery. It did not rely on that really delicate balance staff or balance wheel. So it made them a lot more reliable, and kind of that's what brought upon the quartz movement. So Max Hetzel ended up designing that. Bulova dropped the Accutron in 1960, and he utilized a tuning fork. So come to find out, if you send electricity into a tuning fork, it's going to vibrate at a certain frequency. That's 36,000 hertz. So at 36,000 hertz, you could have that go through a mechanism. They have a wheel in there with like 360 teeth to kind of bring it down, and then it ticks a clock. So as you guys can see on this screen here, the seconds hand as it's coming around from 5, I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to see, but you'll see it's smooth sweeping. So your typical mechanical watch or something like that, maybe something really high end would have like 8 beats per second. Some lower end watches, maybe 4 or 5. But those beats, because it goes, per second at 4 beats, so you kind of see a watch jump a little bit. This, however, has that fully smooth second hand. Now, Bulova later on gave this technology out to Citizen, and also the Omega F300, the Speedmaster, in the late 60s utilized a movement they used from Bulova. So again, here's your tuning fork. Up here, you can see one tongue of the tuning fork, it comes down, and then the other tongue of the tuning fork. This barrel here, this copper that's wrapped around, that's a third of the size of a human hair. And if you were to spread it out, it would be 90 meters or something like that. It is crazy. It's wrapped around there like 28,000 times. It's so insane. Don't quote me on the numbers, but really cool. So you designed the tuning fork, and then this ensured an accuracy. Bulova used to say plus or minus 2 seconds per day, which was unbelievable as far as watch accuracy went, and still is to this day very accurate. So pretty cool with that. Bulova designed that, and later on your quartz watches. So how a quartz watch functions, it's different than these tuning fork watches. This watch, because of that tuning fork, and I can hear it right now, or if you put these watches up to your ear, you're going to hear them buzz and hum. It is very unique, very cool, and it's why I love Accutron watches. However, so Bulova released that in 1960. That was the first electric-powered, fully electric watch available for consumers. So 1960, Bulova changed the game, ushering in the way to the quartz movement. Nobody had really knocked it out of the park until Seiko, 1969, came out with their quartz watch. Now, quartz watch does not utilize the tuning fork we see in the Accutron, but if you look at a quartz crystal in a watch, it looks very similar to a tuning fork. So you'll see it'll have 2 tines there. Now that vibrates at a frequency closer to 24,000 hertz, or I could be wrong about that. It might be around 30 as well. But either or, that was the first quartz watch, was 1969, essentially utilizing the technology in a different way, using a quartz crystal that Max Hertz or Hetzel had developed, or Bulova, back during the 1950s, but released in the 1960s. The Bulova movements, those Accutron movements, were so accurate. They were used in timing devices for space shuttles. They were used in aircraft pilots, anywhere where you needed extreme accuracy and something that was going to be very durable. You got to think, with only having 12 moving parts inside this watch, this is the 214 movement. This is the first movement. Bulova later came out with the 218, and then the 221. I think we'll have some other varieties in here as well in our opening tonight, as well as some miniature ones. But anyways, in 1970, these were used on spaceships and whatever else. Then Bulova has a watch that was on the moon, thanks to David Scott, which is a great name. you can see here, only 12 moving parts. You really can't see any of this stuff move. Back in here is that wheel. Once those vibrations, so this tuning fork vibrates, and then there's little tines that come off of this, and the tine on the end of this actually spins a wheel that's got 360 cogs on it. It's this super fine little wheel you can't even see that's back here that makes that movement. But no one knows how they made it. If you were to even touch a tine on that wheel, you would destroy it. So pretty cool. This is your battery hatch cover here. You know, and you can see all the wires here. Just really cool. You know, obviously the tuning fork. So very neat stuff from Bulova. So yeah, basically, you know, the kind of electric devices, you know, they made hearing aids first, and then, or they first said they had the hearing aids, then a transistor radio, then the Accutron. The Accutron's really one of the few items from that time, from the 1950s, utilizing this technology that kind of changed electronics forever. This is the only thing that's still, I mean, this is operational. It's from 1964. That technology we're still using today. So very cool. So we've got 4 watches there, maybe 5. And then I've got this box here, which is also right around that time. So this is going to be kind of 1960s era item in this box. I actually do know what things are tonight, somewhat. So that'll be interesting. We'll get to our first watch first. This box here, it comes to us by the way of Carthage, Missouri. So I'm here in St. Louis, Missouri, in Eureka. You can come visit us in shop. We have all these watches here. I don't really sell the Accutrons. I'm more of a collector. So maybe don't expect to be able to buy one of these. But if you're really interested and you tell me a good story, then I suppose we can do that for you. So I'm going to get this thing opened up a little bit here before I go under the hood. I don't feel like I went on too long about that. Oh, but Art Bulova, Joseph Bulova's son, is the guy who was at the helm of the company in the 1950s and 60s. And he is the one responsible for hiring Max and everything else. So, anyhow, let's get to it. What do we have here? A package inside of a package. I respect that. And bubble wrap. This is really all right. This is a bit much, I'm gonna say. I wonder if people feel this way when I ship them things. You can visit our eBay store. It's STL Watch Shop. I have some things listed there. So pretty cool. All right. So I guess I ordered multiple items from this person. On the outside, we have Bulova Accutron 218, men's, gold plate, date, new battery, new band, new crystal, runs, functions correct, keeps time. So I'm pretty excited. Oh, on my wrist I have, before we jump into that, this is, well, we'll jump into it afterwards. I've already started. I'll jump into it now. This is so the Precisionist. Bulova stuck with that kind of, Bulova continued to innovate. So this is the Precisionist. The Precisionist originally came out in 2010. This is a 2018 Precisionist. Chronographed is my absolute favorite watch. I got this for myself at my 5-year being in business here at the bike shop. The Precisionist actually uses a triple tuning fork movement. So even more reminiscent back to that early transistor. It's got a chronograph that's good down to 1,000th of a second. Really nice, smooth sweeping hands still. And this actually vibrates at 262,000 hertz. So that's pretty crazy. It's deadly accurate, up to 10 seconds per year, or accurate within plus or minus 10 seconds per year. So very, very cool stuff. The Precisionist, my absolute favorite watch. They utilize this movement in the Curve, which came out in 2010 with the Precisionist movement. Or Yep, but either or, very cool. Sometimes I try to get too into details and I get myself in trouble. All right. So here we have an Accutron. This is a day date. It says Monday the 27th, which it is. The time appears to be 5 minutes fast at this moment. Well, more than 5 minutes, but let's jump back in time. Very cool watch. The year on this is a 1975. So the Accutron watches, they kind of went out of commission by 1977. So you're not going to find an Accutron newer than 77. This is probably one of the final years. I forget the exact years on all these movements, but you can see, maybe if I can get you guys a good angle, that smooth sweeping seconds hand. So we'll throw that under. I absolutely love the size of this watch. This is going to be nice. It is winter time and my skin is dry. So really cool watch. Let's throw this under the screen here for you guys. You can get a little bit better look. That champagne dial, very nice. Wow, this is a really pretty watch. It's in great condition. Oh, I love this watch actually. 1975. Look at that tuning fork on the end. Holy smokes, guys. That's something else. That is something else. Look at that dial. Absolutely stunning. That smooth sweeping second hand. I'm getting that little feedback on my screen too. I'm not sure why. Can zoom in, do a little digital zoomer. But yeah, very cool. Oh, we're looking at pictures now. Back to the live look. Yeah, wow, that's so beautiful. I know I got to get back to the video, but I am just absolutely blown away by this thing. What a beautiful watch. So pretty cool. We'll do a wrist check on it. I love it. Perfect size. I love the shape. The band is very tasteful with it. Can't hate that at all. Oh. So this is the 218 movement, what did I say, 1975. But yeah, very cool watch. Oh, thinking man. And that's what it looks like. So yeah, that's a good looking watch. Wow. I love it. Can't beat that. Very good looking. I can expand this out on loading my preview. Everything's very slow nowadays. I'll give you guys a good look here. This view. So pretty nice. Very, very nice watch. 1975. So 2 more years. Didn't know at the time. Champagne dial, rose gold plated, absolutely stunning. 1975 Accutron with the 218 movement. Very cool. 10 karat gold, they tell me. Well, I'm really happy with the first one, that's for sure. That's a nice watch. Can't beat that. I think we've got another watch in this package, or at least a band. It appears it might be a band. Nope, it's a watch. Oh, wow, this one. All right. Look what I did with that other bag. I kind of appreciate the bag. So on this, we've got another Accutron, obviously. This is a men's stainless Bulova Accutron 218, day date, new battery, new band, new crystal, runs, functions correct, keeping time. So this one, again, these were some just absolute steals. Can't beat these finds, so I don't know how clear the dial is to you guys, and I'm colorblind, but that appears to be burgundy. It's got some very interesting texturing on it. I don't know if I can get, if I get too close, camera's not going to like it. So I'll get a little bit further away. Hopefully the camera's picking up how pretty this dial is. So again, another Accutron. We're a couple days behind on this thing. It's not running. As the bag had stated. This is a 1970. So that's unfortunate. I'll have to look into that, see maybe why this one wasn't running, but I'll get you guys a good look at that dial. I may have known that was the case getting this watch, but I really wanted that dial. It's pretty stunning. Let you guys get a little, know how to do this best. Just really pretty. So yeah, neat watch. Hopefully we can figure that out. These watches had a time getting here. Holy moly, it took about 3 weeks for USPS to get them here. It was crazy. So yeah, that's interesting, those two watches. So keeping time, it was running when he shipped it, I'm certain. So we'll see what happened with that. All right, our next package comes to us by the way of Monterey, California. So don't know what this guy is. Those were 2 of the 4 watches I thought we were getting. So I'm not sure what we have going on here. All right, this comes from Monterey, California. All the way to Eureka. We'll get back under. So a little bit disappointed, but I think the first watch was so stunning. I'm still happy. The dial is definitely beautiful. It's a beautiful red watch. Something I'd love to wear though, so hopefully I can figure out what's going on with it. All right. Come from Monterey, California. This is weird. Okay, this makes more sense. This is a Bulova Accutron. Looks like a 2210. It's a 1975 Womens Accutron. Yeah, this is a 22. It might be a 223 without the seconds hand. So I don't know why I got that other watch. Don't think this watch works. We'll set the time and see what happens. So 1975 Accutron 2218 probably. without the seconds hand, so I'm not sure if that's a 230. These are my first women's Bulova. So these came out in 1970, the mini Accutron, so a lady's wristwatch with the mini Accutron here. So pretty cool. This is 1976. So I wonder if that's that 230 movement. It's so confusing. Something fell apart in here. This is a Nevada automatic, which is running. Nevada automatic, stainless steel. Doesn't really tell me anything year-wise. It's got a fluted bezel. It's pretty. Blue dial. Close enough to accurate for me for something like that. So that's neat. That runs and needs to be cleaned up. And here's another Accutron. It has no crystal. It's got a nice case though. This is probably why I took this lot, was just literally for this case. Also 1976. Oh. Maybe the crystal is meant for this. I don't know why they sent that. So that's all weird. But yeah, a couple of Accutron ladies watches, 230s probably. I think 230s ones without the second hand. And then the 221s, I believe, had the second hand. So yeah, interesting. Again, I probably got those for the cases in case I came across a nice movement of some kind. And then the automatic here. So we'll leave those nasty ones off to the side. No one needs to see that. All right, well, that was interesting. Let's see what we got here now. Jump back under the box. And another Accutron. This is a 221 or 2181, a 230. I think this is the 221. This has got the seconds hand. Non-functioning, but nice case. We'll see. We'll try maybe put a battery in it, see if that doesn't help this thing. And that's the Tiffany wall clock behind me going off at the half hour. So I've not been doing this more than a half hour, which is good to know. So you guys are welcome. I didn't get too crazy with that. But there's the size and scale of that. You know, if you were to compare that to this was a 1975, and this is a 60. So let's do these two guys in size comparison. So pretty neat there. This tends to be a pretty good view, it looks like. But yeah, there's our size comparison, or size comparison with my Precisionist chronograph. So a 54, big old monster watch. But yeah, pretty cool. All right, we'll move on. But yeah, I wanted this one for that smooth seconds hand. So, you know, people seem to not really care about ladies' watches. I think it's even more interesting because how small they have to make everything. So it did take a couple years. The original Accutron, again, was released in 1960. And then the Women's Accutron was in 1971. So about 10 years later, it took them to miniaturize this and get them on women's watches. But this 2218, I believe, if I'm getting the year right, from, well, hold on. Oh, this must be 74, which would make more sense, not 64. Sorry, guys. It's probably an N, not an M. Well, a giant microscope here. Yes, that's an N. So yes, I apologize. 1974. So this is the 2218, I believe, with the smooth sweeping seconds hand, and then the Series 230, which would not have had that, or I could be reversing those. It should be a 218. The Accutron watch that we got was a movement 218. So a 2218 makes the most sense to me, or 2181. I don't know. But yeah, so cool. That's another one. We're getting to our last watch here, and then we can get into the big box below. So that'll be fun. Stay tuned. And we've got another ladies Accutron here. Again, another 230. These are going to be way more common. It was... So they had the crown out on this one. And funny enough, it's about the same time. So 10:26. Holy moly. We'll go off my watch time, not the wall clock. So we'll see if that beats along. This movement is moving around. This watch clearly is not working. This one I'm not even going to try. Alright, so we've got time set on these guys. So same watch, 1974, 1973 on the secondary one. I'll bring it both in. So yeah, this is, I believe, the Series 230. It lacks the seconds hand. So really pretty. Cases are in great condition. Some light scratching. Bulova tuning fork on here. Now this one doesn't have it, so I wonder if that's been replaced previously. But we shall see. Our 218 is keeping good time. Our 1975 218 and our other 218 is not doing anything. Hear anything rattling around in there? 1 out of 2 ain't too bad. I'll take it. All right, so that was our last watch, and now we can jump over to the box. So this will be a pretty cool one here. Again, I know what this is. I did pre-open it. I opened it enough to see what it was. I didn't open it enough to where I would actually get to see it. Let's make some room here. So this is going to be what they would call, again, mid-century. So mid-century, 1950s, 1960s. Pretty cool. Hopefully this works. Oh, I could have died. Did a great job packaging it. Thank you to that seller. I much appreciate you. Even if it takes me time to navigate. All right. This had been sitting at the post office. We did not want to deliver it. Definitely smells old. Very well packaged. Maybe our power cord. It's upside down. Almost always upside down. And there it is. So, a little bit dirty. Could definitely get this guy cleaned up. But yeah, this is the Bulova clock radio. Let's plug it in, see what happens. We've got a smooth sweeping seconds hand. Well, all right, well. You don't have the greatest signal here, but pretty neat. It says made in the USA on the rear. But yeah, neat little clock radio by Bulova. The clock runs. The radio's not really doing anything. Appears to not be connected, so you know, this would be a fun little project to work on. But yeah, really neat clock. Oh, here was another dial. Aha. Look at me go, aren't I clever? There's a dial on the other side. Well, it's Bulova time, but not time for radio. Oh, it's got a sleep timer. No way. Oh, sleep timer, alarm. People would have, in the 1960s, they would have been listening to the radio. Very cool. Well, not getting any AM radio stations. I'll have to figure out. How that works. External antenna. So yeah, I can get an antenna on here, so that'll be nice. Well, we'll see if I can't figure out a radio station at some point. But I'll let you guys go. Thanks for tuning in with me for a little bit of Bulova history. That was fun. Glad you guys joined in. See if the alarm goes off. Might as well while we're here. Nope. All right, guys. Well, yeah, check us out, stlwatchshop.com, mtbshed.com. Come see us in person in St. Louis, Missouri. Plenty of these old watches you can come check out in person. Thanks for tuning in.